All right. Hey, Facebook Live, alert, alert, alert. We are having major technical difficulties in terms of Facebook Live. And this is about the fourth time that I've rescheduled and postponed it. I have abandoned my normal software that I use because they're just not playing well in the sandbox today. And I've even had to restart the Facebook Live in Facebook. You know why? Because when I try to pull up another window, it actually disconnects the whole thing. So now I have stealthily figured out, and you can't see this, but I'm moving windows around. It seems to be allowing me to do that. And we're going to have an extra snappy Facebook Live this week. Now, this has become, what you ask, why are you doing this, Nathan, if it's such a hassle? Well, it's so important to get the word out for you and to celebrate everybody that I get to interview. You see, I have the privilege of interviewing often well over a dozen people a week. Now, this week is a very, very lean week because I've switched a few things up. I'm going to be testing a couple of new things that you'll find out about in the future. And so I'm having a lighter week because I don't want to be boxcarring up all of my guests when I don't have things completely worked out well on my end. So I'm working it out. And I just can't wait to let you know some of the amazing things that we have going on here at BeTheTalk. Let's start out with the 5K Club. A few weeks ago, I instituted the 1K Club. Those are simply for those guests that I bring on whose interviews with me on Facebook Live have actually won more than 1,000 views. It's very, very doable. I mean, you might be looking at this and thinking, you know, Nathan, 1,000 views on a Facebook video, it's not a whole lot. I kind of agree, but on the other hand, I think it's a big deal because that's a lot of people that get to watch, and everything that I do drives traffic to the branded talk of my guests. So a few weeks ago, I started the 1K Club. We've got several people on that already, and I am happy right off the bat. We've got our first 5K Club winner. It's Aliha Nasrullah from the Barkat Foundation. My gosh, I'm just going to take about 10 seconds right now and give a big shout out to the Barkat Foundation. It's in Lahore, Pakistan, and they are doing amazing, amazing, amazing work. Obviously, the people who have been helped and who are volunteering and donating, really believing in the cause. I believe in the cause because I've done medical missions myself. I've been part of teams off the grid, helping people that don't normally have access to great medical care. And they just simply shared it enough times, and well over 5,000 people have watched that video. It's not bad for Pakistan. And I'm just so happy because I get to touch people and help promote people that are doing amazing work all over the world. I mean, I could, you know, cash in a few stocks, you know, have a few $1,000s, go over and help out on the other side of the world myself, or I can just let you know about the amazing work that's going on right here from my recording studio. It's just amazing. I mean, Facebook, despite all of the technical stuff that I'm a little annoyed at today, it's still pretty cool, and it's a whole lot more cost effective to be able to connect people and do all of that. So all that to say, I think it's a good day. Congratulations to you, Aliha, Nasrullah, and your tribe of amazing people. Now, what do we got on the docket today? Thursday, Wednesday this week is the 4th of July, which is in the United States of America. That is our Independence Day holiday. So not doing anything on Wednesday, doing it Thursday this week. First off, I have, and who do we have here? I've got to scroll this window to be able to see them. All right, we have Kumra, who is going to be talking about Rising with Passion is the name of his branded talk. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's done some really amazing stuff, and he's a passionate guy. So he's going to be talking about Rising with Passion. We're going to be talking to Ryan Pearson, who I'm in particular as a not super new first-time homeowner, but it is still feeling new to me even 3 years in. He has a technology that he is working with in his department at the University of Colorado, or is it, no, excuse me, Colorado State University, excuse me. Colorado State University is working on this technology that instead of having to replace all your windows for like $10,000 a piece, they have a way to they're working on it right now, basically a spray-on that would be a fraction of the cost and basically start paying for itself and keep your home cooler faster, and all you do is basically spray it on. We're going to be talking to him about his branded talk that's all about the pioneering of that new technology as well. And then last but in no means least, this week we have Captain Charles Plumb, who is a real-life prisoner of war, and his talk has been all about how to escape from prison, literally. And, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, I know a lot of people that I talk to on Be the Talk who are listening in on behalf of a friend or whatever. A lot of times we're a little bit left of center. If you tend to like, the big daddy in the room, the big gorilla is TEDx talks of all the branded talks, TED or TEDx. And those tend to be, a little bit centrist or left of center. But I am really excited to talk to Captain Plumb, because he gave this talk. It's all about how he escaped from a prison, I believe in Vietnam. My sympathies go out, and again, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, another centrist and former presidential candidate, John McCain, who is ailing right now, I believe, and a very similar story. So we'll have a real-life hero who is not just a real-life hero, but is also given a branded talk all about how to escape from prison. Those of you that are in the armed forces or have served or have family members who have served, and maybe you've said, all these, these TED Talks or these Aspen Idea Talks, why don't they have more veterans on? Why don't they have more heroes on? Well, this is your chance, okay? It happened. I'm bringing them on Be the Talk. It's really hard to balance. I'll just say this. It's hard to promote a balanced view because there are all kinds of people, all kinds of great ideas. There is no monopoly on either side of the political spectrum on great ideas. I think maybe it's really about articulating those ideas so that they are spreadable and shareable. And I think a lot of times, as we're seeing right now, I think, we have an administration right now, regardless of how you feel about it, I think the rhetoric that goes out there, whether or not you believe in fake news or whatever, I think the rhetoric a lot of times is not, nice. It's not uplifting a lot of times, okay? And is that in context, out of context? I don't know, but I am really excited. I'm saying all this to say this. I'm looking forward to interviewing Captain Plumb because he's articulated his idea we're spreading of how to escape from a military, from a POW prison. He's articulated it well. This is an opportunity for all of us. You may be anti-war, you may be, whatever, but I think all of us can commend Captain Charles Plumb for his valor and his service to our country, even if you're not living in this country, or even if you are in process in this country, no matter what the case is. Now, having said all of that, and having celebrated our first 5K club winner, here are a few highlights from last week. Now, you want to go back and check out these talks from last week because they were absolutely off the chart. Sarah Baker Andrus, we were talking about the job hunt and how to think differently. We had a great conversation. She was one of my first persons on, and I was having tech difficulties, as I often do at the beginning of the day. So that was not Facebook Live. However, I do have video footage of that. And upon request, I can certainly release that footage, and you can spread it just like it was a Facebook Live, especially since we have fewer interviews live this week. So I may do that anyway. So we talked about the job hunt. The job hunt is dead. Here's what you do instead. It's all about emotional intelligence, not IQ, not the grades you got in the Ivy League school. It's about gumption, and it's about stick-to-itiveness, and it's about creative thinking, and it's about differentiation. It really is. After that, we talked to Kate Nicholson. Now, Kate Nicholson is a federal prosecutor who has had 20 plus years of extreme pain. She has been someone who is at the top of her game. She has argued cases in front of and before the Supreme Court of the United States, absolutely on the top of her game. Really great idea we're spreading. Basically, we talked about what happens when you overmanage or micromanage in a bad way pain management medications, okay, to the point where the people that need them, which are well over, according to the sources that she cited, well over 97% of people have legitimately prescribed pain medication and aren't able to get them as easily, and they are the ones suffering at the expense of the very well publicized opioid crisis. Now, 5 years ago, when none of us really knew much about it, we needed to crack down on it. And the point is, they have cracked down. The crackdown is optimized at this point, and now it's getting to the point where it's very difficult. It's getting increasingly difficult and unnecessarily difficult for legitimate people to get the legitimate pain management medications. And so great talk, because it's someone at the top of her game. She's arguing with statistics that she provides, and she's lived it. She's lived it, and it's a little contrarian, because the popular voice right now is that we just simply, continue to restrict access to this without providing, ways for people to get their hands on it who really need it and will use it appropriately. After that, Natasha Sharma, Dr. Natasha, came on, and we talked about what I was talking about with Sarah earlier in the day. We talked about emotional intelligence as opposed to intellectual IQ, EQ instead of IQ. And it's so important to have emotional intelligence. It's so important to demonstrate and differentiate and demonstrate the ability to empathize with other people. But before we can do that, we need to be able to understand what's going on the inside of us, and then match what's going on in the inside of us and our feelings in an appropriate way to the context around us. I believe that was a lot of the definition that Dr. Natasha uses for emotional intelligence as well. After that, wow, what a treat. Our second TED alumni or alumnus, Azim Khamisa, who gave a talk on forgiveness. His talk was amazing. You've got to watch it. You've got to watch my Facebook Live interview with him. Just scroll down my page. You'll have access to it. You'll want to share all of these. I mean, by the way, you want to share these things, help these guests get their points heard, get their message heard, get their ideas spread. Azim's son, his only son, was murdered in a gang initiation rite. And I interviewed him based on the backstory of his TED talk at TED Women conference in November of last year. So it's only been up for a couple of months, got well over 1 million views at this point. And what an honor to have Azim there. And the story, I'm not going to spoil it. You're going to have to watch it as well. Now back to pharmaceuticals, because I had Janet Carlson, and she talked about a solution that she had, all the pharmaceutical waste that happens, like billions and billions of dollars of pharmaceutical waste. She is a former pharmaceutical rep, and she found a way to connect the people that legitimately needed the pharmaceuticals with all of the waste before the pharmaceuticals expired. And she was so successful at this that that's really not her current cause. I mean, she basically fixed the issue of pharma waste, or at least in terms of setting the initial wheels in motion. So, I mean, high energy level. Let me tell you that. Watch the Facebook Live. Very, very, very high energy level for sure. After that, we talked to Alan Heap about playing the fool. We talked about the role of the fool, and this really was a lot of fun, because we talked about, where have we seen the fool in modern society? We don't see it as much as you did in the jester in the king's court. But then our interview basically descended or evolved into an analysis, just an armchair quarterback amateur analysis by Alan and myself on Brexit, as well as the United States' most recent political elections, where there was just so much strange campaigning, and there was a lot of just foolishness happening in the campaign. And it was almost like the candidates, or one candidate in particular, was almost playing the role. And hear what I'm saying here in the context of the interview with Alan, before you send me any, hate comments or whatever. But it really, the winning candidate, possibly, I mean, we kind of explored the argument that the winning candidate won because he played that full role, and basically and kind of the joke was on the opposing candidate, as well as the possible corruption, possible lack of forward progress of the American political establishment. Okay, so whatever you want to say, that was kind of the nature of the discussion that we had. We're just kind of exploring it. We're not taking a position for or against, but we're kind of exploring that within the context of Alan's recent branded talk, which I hope that you watch as well. After I talked to Alan, then we brought back to Be the Talk some platinum content, some bonus content with Sari Gilman, who is a psychotherapist and four-time terminal degree holder, Ruthann Russo. And I had never brought in Ruthann on Be the Talk before, and I'm bringing her back. She signed up for the conventional Behind Her Talk interview. I believe next week we're going to be talking about her talk. But I brought on both of those ladies because I wanted to bring attention to a very important issue. Now, if Talk Universe, that I am no stranger to advocating as an outsider. Okay, I'm an outsider, but I always advocate for healthcare leadership. I advocate against physician burnout and healthcare leadership burnout, because it's a thing. Okay, and there are very few fields like healthcare. Like if you're a nurse, or if you're a pharmacist, or if you're a physician, especially a physician, you can't really complain about, oh, I'm so tired, oh, I worked 100 hours this week. Why can't you do that? Well, because people might think that you're, being soft. The medical training is so rigorous. Like they lowered the ceiling. Now there is a lowering of, a lot of people don't know this, when you are a resident, when you've already borrowed a couple $100,000 to go through medical school, then you get to, before you're technically a doctor, but you're not licensed to practice anything. So before you can be licensed to practice anything, or actually have any kind of a job as a physician, for example, you have to go through this thing called a residency, which is a 1-year running of the gauntlet. Okay. Now, when extended family members of mine in prior generations became physicians, there was no hourly limit. Okay, so they basically lock you overnight in a hospital and whenever your patients are done, then you can go home. And the weekly limits, there were no weekly limits. So physicians in training are working well over 100-hour weeks. Okay, now does that sound really mindful? Okay, does that sound really emotionally intelligent? Does that sound just like something that you want? I know we all want hardworking people. We want hardworking, lawyers, and we want hardworking teachers to teach us, and hardworking, every professional should be hardworking. But does that mean that they should be working 100+ hour weeks? Do we want them making decisions when they are going through that kind of a gauntlet? Okay. Healthcare is very slow to change, and recently, okay, even healthcare changed. So now they have I think it's an 80-hour limit for residents. Now, I still think that might be a little high. Okay, I think when I'm working 80 hours a week, I'm pretty drained, I'm pretty fried, and so are you. So I bring attention, and I kind of blow the whistle and advocate for, wellness. And not just for physicians and other healthcare workers, but I'm speaking directly, and that's what we did with Sari Gilman and Ruthann Russo. I have found a psychotherapist, I have found someone with 4 terminal degrees, including a law degree, who currently works in the healthcare environment, practicing a form of healthcare. I think it's acupuncture and some alternative forms, but is licensed and certified and holds multiple terminal degrees. And I'm sure over time, we're going to find more and more board certified physicians. We're going to find more and more people who are former healthcare administrators. We're going to find more and more people that can advocate with me for common sense reform in the healthcare industry, because the system that is set up for 100 or 200 years ago. It's not set up for now. And people are paying the price. Everybody's paying the price, okay? Everybody knows the system is broken, but not everybody knows the level to which healthcare providers, especially primary care physicians, go through this gauntlet on so many levels. And they're doing the best that they can. So I just use this platform. That's kind of, I don't want to call it a pet project, because there are so many other things that when somebody has an idea we're spreading, we spread that idea. So what I did was brought them both on to talk about this issue. Anybody that you know, okay, nurses, staff, any physicians, pharmacists, anybody in the whole healthcare industry, anybody in administration, anybody who's in private practice, okay, share that video so that people know. Help them get the word out. And it's a panel discussion. Then I separately did platinum bonus content for Sari, as well as separately for Ruthann and with Ruthann, so that we could deep dive even more separately, individually, on this issue of healthcare leadership burnout. And in case you're wondering, I'm not the audience is not other physicians. It's not nurses. It's not, staff at the hospital. My audience that we are speaking to, the questions that I asked of my guests are targeted to the people in the C-suite at the top, the board of directors, the CEO of the hospital, the chief wellness officer of a hospital. That's actually a thing. A chief wellness officer. That's what I learned. It's a thing. And Stanford University research is backing this stuff up. So share it. Help me spread this worthy stuff. I think that's about it. Oh, actually, you know what? That's it for my guests. However, I want to let you know, hey, Talk Universe, you've been telling me, hey, we want to know how to give our own talk. We want to give the talk to change the world. Well, I have a new course, and I'm getting ready to roll it out. It's probably going to go live maybe next week. Okay, people have been asking me, how do I get to give, in your case, Nathan, a TEDx talk too? Because you're always interviewing people. I want to be on the club too. I want to give a TED talk. I want to give a TEDx talk. I want to give a Google Talks. I want to give an Idea City talk. I want to give a Q Ideas talk. Okay. Well, I've got a new course. Guess what the course is called? Get Accepted. Because before you can give that talk to change the world, it's got to be accepted. And for those of us that remember what it was like to apply to college, okay, it's very similar process. So I'm going to give you, I think it's a 5-day course. It's just going to be another resource. Now, I should probably make it $100 or something like that. I think I'm just going to give it away for free as an added resource, but only if people really avail themselves of it, only if they share it, only if it works. And if it doesn't work, I'll just take the whole course down if it's not worthwhile and if it's not helping anybody or doing any good. If I look and nobody's really taking the course, I'll probably just yank the course down. But if it is meeting a need and something that is shareable, and I should probably think about reaching back out to all my talk alumni. And at this point, we've done about 155 live episodes, well over 200 recorded interview episodes that are not yet all live. And so I should probably think about some of what I know about affiliate marketing and launches and all of that. I think we have enough mass to celebrate this course launch as well. So anyway, if that's something that is exciting to you, I've got people all the time reaching out to me, say, hey, Nathan, can I get you on the phone? Hey, Nathan, I'm back in town. Hey, Nathan, I want to talk with you. I'd really love to pick your brain about me giving a TED Talk. Okay, great. Well, I have an hourly rate, but I don't know that that's what people have in mind. I think they want me to stop my production of this 7-day-a-week podcast in order to for some reason get on the phone one-on-one with them and have a nice little friend-to-friend chat. I'm just not available for that when I'm doing a 7-day-a-week podcast. Folks, I miss a day on this podcast. Everybody knows. I miss one day, okay? I'm working 7 times more than the guy or the lady that only has to do this once a week, okay? And I put myself on record, public out there. This is a 7-day-a-week podcast, okay? So I miss one day, the whole world knows. So that's why I put a course together. I really figure that if people want to, talk with me on the phone, they'd sure like to have an email that they can listen to me, absolutely, especially if I don't charge them $100 for the course, if it's just completely free, like everything else I've done for the last 6 months since we went live this very year. And now we have more than 155 episodes live out there. Go figure. Hey, love to hear your thoughts, your comments, and I'd love to hear, it's not too late for me to adjust this course based on what you need to have in that course, okay? If you were willing to pay tons of money for a course on how to get your branded talk accepted and then how to prepare, what would need to be on that course? That's the kind of stuff that I want to hear from you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't have the fancy logo on the screen, right here, and I'm sorry I didn't have the little header right there. The folks over at the software company, I've already kind of posted some Facebook group community questions for them to have to answer, and I hope to be back up and running on Thursday with my full little avatar and title and all of those nice little overlays that I have, because I think it makes it look more professional on that. Take care, everybody. Have a great week and enjoy, happy birthday, United States of America, for my fellow country people. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon.